My boyfriend brought me to an event where he and other people put on a fur costume, and I pet him. Now I have the ick so bad and feel awful for not being a supportive girlfriend. I didn't even know what a furry was before I met him. We were together for literally 3 whole years before we moved in together. While helping him move his clothes into our apartment, I found one of his furry outfits. At first, I thought that maybe he had worked in children's shows or sold things in the subway, as in my country, it is normal to see people in costumes selling things. Then I also found a common foxtail and thought it was something spicy, but it's not. He got nervous and confessed to me that he is a furry. I looked at him like, WTF is a furry? Anyway, he explained to me that years ago he created his fursona, and it is a hobby that makes him feel at ease and happy. He said that he hid it from me because he was embarrassed and scared that I might leave him or laugh at him. He's a serious and professional man, not the kind of person who would dress like that. I assured him that I wasn't going to leave him and that I love him. Knowing my boyfriend uses a fox suit was the least attractive thing in the world, but I support his hobby. I didn't really think much about it. Did it seem weird to me? Yes, but at the time, I thought I loved him so much that I was going to support him. It's just a hobby he rarely does, so it's not like he talks about it in our day-to-day. Neither is it his way of being himself. He said he just likes to do the character, and it's not something with a deep meaning. It's been a year since that, and he's invited me to a furry event for the first time. I've never gotten into furry events, and I hadn't seen him wearing his suit either. He wears it very rarely because it's not my thing at all. But he invited me really excited and shy, and I couldn't refuse to go with him because I also wanted to see what it's like and know that world. But when we got there, it was like, oh, this is getting real. When I saw him park the car and put on his suit, I didn't have a suit, so my face was totally visible when we got out of the car a few streets back and had to walk through the city center like that. I felt embarrassed, even if it's awful to say that. First, we met his furry friends who were waiting in a park for him. I found out that my boyfriend has a name he uses when he's in character. They were nice, but no, it's not an everyday thing to see your boyfriend using a pet name, dressed as a fox, and talking to other people who are also like that. Some didn't have a suit, just a tail or nothing. I felt embarrassed because people around obviously walked by and laughed or looked curiously. A few minutes later, we finally went to the event place, and it wasn't that many people but a large group, most without suits, just wearing tails or a mask. I know it's wrong to say it, but a lot of those people smelled musty, had long hair so greasy you could fry an egg on it, just weird people. Years ago, I accompanied my sister to an otaku event, and it was 95% the same kind of people, like weird in the wrong way. I've never been in that kind of environment. My boyfriend isn't like that at all. He's attractive, smells good, has a normal life and work, and I don't think anyone would expect him to be a furry, so it was my first time seeing other furries in person beside him. At one point, some of them started playing at removing each other's tails, some were doing choreographies and TikToks, and some liked to do high jumps on all fours. Do you know what it's like to see your boyfriend do a choreo dressed as a blue fox while asking you to call him by his furry name and pet his head? I do, and it was impossible for me not to change the way I see him. I didn't feel comfortable in the place. It bothered me a lot since there were some using harnesses in their suits. What is attractive about an animal? Some artist stands at furry art that was pretty explicit, though my boyfriend dislikes that kind of art. For him, his fursona is a performance. I just felt even more weird because they're animals, even if they call that a fursona. I felt weird, and since yesterday, every time I see my boyfriend, I can't help but think of him being part of those people and him dressed like that. I really love him, but I just feel like I got the ick, and I hate that because I always wanted to be the supportive girlfriend, but this is just too much. I don't want to talk about this with my boyfriend and make him feel ashamed of who he is and what he likes. I don't want to make him feel bad about my feelings. He's a great man. The only time I felt tenderness yesterday was when he hugged me, thanking me for supporting him in this. I just feel like the worst person in the world, and the last thing I want is to hurt his heart, even if his friends are too weird for me. I just hope I can get over this icky feeling fast, but he's really happy and shows me pictures of the event, telling me that we should go to another event together. I just can't tell him that the last thing I want to do is go to one of those events again. Edit. He's not into anything intimate with it. He told me that his character is a performative thing that he enjoys doing from time to time, but doesn't find it exciting or comfortable to fetishize a fursona, because at the end of the day, he's just making a character. Then he told me that for him, it's like a person getting aroused by being dressed as Mickey for a play. He can't feel like that and finds it weird. We literally live together and share the PC. If he had strange movements, I would notice them. He goes to those events very occasionally because he doesn't like the more weird side of furry. I know he's not a perv, and no, my intuition doesn't tell me that he is one. My intuition just tells me that the people at that event smelled funny and that I don't want to set foot in that place again. Update 1. First of all, I never had any problem with him telling me after 3 years about this, and I said that in the first post. I always understood how afraid someone can feel to say who they are. Everyone has their secrets, and there's nothing wrong if you're not harming anyone with them. After reading the comments people left on the post, I understand the fear that my boyfriend had. Some people even told me that he was grooming me, which is just disgusting, as if I couldn't defend myself. I didn't need to talk to my boyfriend because during the night he sat down to talk to me and apologized. He showed me that one of his friends told him that the organizers of the event had changed, and that's why there were people with inappropriate stuff. My boyfriend was also uncomfortable with that, since the last time he went to that event, those types of outfits were forbidden. He showed me pictures, and yes, the atmosphere and people looked different. They found out about it too because some people started to complain about it on the event's Instagram. It seems that there are public-friendly events and others that aren't like that, but the new people in charge of the event just changed a lot of things. I confessed to him that I didn't feel comfortable either, and he was surprised because, after all, I was smiling the whole time and pretending that everything was fine, which is true. We talked a lot, and he was very apologetic for how he behaved. He said he should have gone without the suit and should have shown me pictures of the place before we went. Honestly, I never showed him discomfort and I was always with a fake smile, so I understand that he thought I was having a good time. My boyfriend kept apologizing deeply. He said he didn't really know how to react since it was the first time he had taken someone so important to an event, so he behaved that way. He apologized for not thinking about how I might have felt, and I apologized for not communicating my feelings too. I received literally more than 100 messages and comments telling me that my boyfriend is a perv. I don't know much about the furry world, so I was disturbed when some people started to leave comments talking about things I didn't know about them. I had never distrusted him before. We share a PC and I can use his cell phone whenever I want, but I am so stupid that it was difficult for me not to get carried away by more than 100 people telling me that I am dating a degenerate. I asked him if he really doesn't feel anything intimately by doing that. He never showed that, and from day one, he made it clear to me that for him, it's just a character. He was clearly upset that I didn't trust him, but he ended up giving me his cell phone so I could check whatever I wanted. It made me feel worse to see that his chat with his furry friends wasn't even very active since they all have busy lives, but they said that I'm really cool and they like me. The rest of his stuff was just about his work and me. I feel really stupid for letting my head be filled with comments from sad strangers, but my boyfriend told me that he actually understands why I feel that way. It happened to him too. In the past, he had a furry girlfriend, but she did have a thing for it and that made him uncomfortable, so he ended the relationship. That's why my boyfriend doesn't date furry women. He says that the vast majority are weird people who ruin the community. He doesn't see his character as his true self, and he doesn't identify with those who do. For him, it's quite a character, like cosplaying, although he doesn't like anime or anything like that, so he prefers furry because he can do an original character. I said I was really sorry for thinking like that about him and told him about the post. He doesn't speak English, so I translated some things for him, except for the people who left weird comments. I promised him to have better communication with him about everything. I never felt manipulated, he never pressured me to do anything. I wanted to try to be part of his world, and no, I'm not a poor victim who fell into the clutches of a beast. Some people are really weird trying to look for a villain in every post. I'd rather embrace that eccentric side of him than ruin a cute relationship just because I don't share his hobby. I really like going to raves and he doesn't, but there's nothing wrong with that. We will have separate hobbies. I want to make a good life with him, far away from the furries with harnesses and the explicit art. And I learned my lesson of never posting again in this kind of place. The last time I checked the post, one person got downvoted just because they said that we sound adorable. I guess that's the vibe on this app, haha. Thanks to the people who gave me good advice and were kind. Also, I guess the ick was just the shock I had because we had bedroom intimacy as usual. Why would I leave a hardworking, kind man who loves me devotedly just because he has a hobby that I can't relate to? The blue fox is still mine, and now I love him even more.